Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, went an entirely different direction this day. Now, I walked past the Intuit Center. If you guys check out my last Clipper video, you'll see Intuit Dome, rather. That's the name of the building that they're building for the Clippers. And I just proceeded to send them some, you know, Laker op energy. Told them to blow it up, that kind of thing. But it just feels good to be in the area, man. It feels good to be down here. I haven't seen that building in person. Lived over here for 8 years and never came down here during the process of them building it. It looks great, as you guys can probably see on the footage I left. But yeah, man, this is just my this is just what, the 8th or 9th straight walk. I don't know how long I've been walking actually today, to be honest with you. I ain't even time it. I just decided to come down Century this go round, and you know, it's been a good day so far. I mean, I'd love to say I've been more productive, but believe it or not, just like I always do, I just left another storage center. But it was public storage, so she told me the same thing the other lady said, that the prices change from day to day. But I did find out that I can order online. I won't have to come down there to order the truck and get everything done. So her suggestion was just on the day of, when you know you're going to move, just take the prices that day, because otherwise any quote they give you is going to change and it could vary, just like the last lady said. But nevertheless, I was able to come down here and just actually see another storage place, so I at least know where one is closer, or in another direction rather. So it's like these are things you don't find unless you're stomping around, and the Lord has put it in my heart to just stomp around every direction, every day pick a new direction and walk. And as a result, I'm getting a much broader understanding of the land and what's around here and what are my options. So yeah, man, that's where my head is today, you know. I feel pretty good. You know, I said some prayers yesterday about not wasting money on things that I didn't need to be spending it on. And I told my God, I'm like, Lord, help me. Help against the idea that I would spend money that I don't have. Help me against the idea that, you know, I could buy myself the things that I want during this process, because I'm used to being undisciplined in that way. Walking past all the weed spots yesterday and all that. I went into prayer, and the only thing the Lord honestly showed me was a lot of the things that you're worried most about in regards to what you have to save for. I'm going to make a way for that. I'm going to make a way for that. So that's what he was telling me. He's like, I'm going to make a way for that. I'm going to give you the effort inside of you need to make sure you earn, and I'm also going to help you in whatever way that comes about. You know, so he told me to buy what it was I wanted to buy in prayer. And you guys can not believe me if you want to, but I gave myself an excuse to buy myself some things that I was looking forward to having, but just couldn't afford. But all in all, I didn't spend too much money, and I feel pretty good about that. At the end of the day, what I learned is when you're going through a lot, even in the presence of your budget, and you can still work in the creature comforts of life, because at the same time, you go through what you go through, you're trying to preserve something. That's one of the messages I've had on this channel. Your life, you're trying to preserve it, but the life you're living is worth preserving because there are things within that life that you appreciate. If you deprave yourself of all of those things in the presence of trying to preserve your life, you'll find yourself unhappy with the life you're trying your best to preserve, and probably won't propel yourself to the place you want to be. You got to still enjoy your life. And I was talking to my sister, you know, we were talking about how, you know, eating habits can kind of affect a lot of things, but it's like at the same time, it's like when you get to a certain point in life, you want to enjoy what you've eaten. You don't want to sacrifice what you have to eat. You don't want to throw away all the best tasting foods just so you can be as healthy as you want to be, because at the end of the day, one of the best things in life for a person who loves food is being able to eat. Now, my thing is about balance. You can do that, but make sure you're working enough exercise, drink enough water, be aware of what is just flat out bad for you, etc. But I mean, to eat like a hermit all your life is not really the best way to go if you really love food a lot and still want to enjoy your life. If you know what I'm saying, it's like, find a balance to love what you do, so that when you're hustling and doing everything you got to do, it'll feel like you're doing something that's worth it to you. It's the same problem I had with working the job I was working last 2 years ago. I hated my job. I hated where I was at in my life because I wasn't going anywhere. I was going to work to come home, to go to work to come home, and it was like, it served no purpose. It served no real purpose. I had to add things to my life to make it feel like I was living a life worth living, preserving a life that was worth living. So that's what came to me. You don't want to You don't want to do things that you shouldn't do, but you do want to pray and see what the Lord says for you is okay to do. And that's what I chose to do. And that's what I came up with. You know? But I wanted to make sure that I check in with the Spirit first. Like, yo, this is stupid for me to do anything other than hold my money for all of the things that I need. But the Lord helped me understand. You don't know what you need. You know what you think you need. But what you really need is my favor to bestow upon you the effort to build yourself out of the situation, regardless of where you're starting from here. You don't necessarily know what's immediately in front of you. You don't know what's necessarily going to open up to which certain things can happen. You don't know what job opportunities may be coming about. You don't know if for some reason somebody sees you and now wants to offer you this or that, and now you don't even have these type of issues no more. The point is, you believe you know. And because you believe, you take that belief and you apply it to God. You apply it to me, is what he's telling me. And since you've done that, I'm going to let you know what you think you need. You may not necessarily need as bad as you think. Maybe what you actually need is to let yourself go of this burden, get yourself what it is that you are ultimately asking me for, because I'm telling you, you can. And then from there, to be responsible to do this again next time you're unsure about what it is you should be doing. Come back to me next time, just like you did this time, and you will get the results you're looking for in that case too. And so that's what the Lord is coming to me to tell to you. Like, I would not have bought anything at all if he didn't tell me, yo, I'm telling you spiritually that you should be fine. And the only reason why I trust that spiritual voice is because, again, I put in the work. I've abstained. I've gone to God in prayer over and over again. I've been putting in the effort to do things differently in his name, praying for others consistently every day, keeping that in my practice over a year's time. It's like I trust my inner voice because of these things that I've done that promote love within myself and promote love for a higher power. If for not that, I would not trust myself at all. If for not that, I wouldn't be walking down the street right now with the faith that I have to do that. And so this is what I'm here to tell you. First of all, if you ever find yourself where you're right in front of a freeway entrance, make damn sure everyone behind you is not coming for you before you step off that curb. The Lord told me to tell you right now, this is an easy way to get yourself hurt right here. Very easy. So you got to watch what's behind you before stepping off to what's in front of you in a situation such as this. So this is an opportunity to save some lives for real. And I'm sure all you guys know that, but if you're holding the phone like I am, and you don't have any sense about yourself, you're gonna walk off that thing. Believe you me, these people are not stopping. They're going where they're going. It's LA, they ain't stopping. So that's what I wanna tell everybody, man. I got my eyes open. I ain't getting hit by nothing. You heard me? They're gonna have to get all up on this damn curb to hit me. But see, that's the power of the Holy Spirit. When I'm speaking the right things, I can focus on what I need to. If I'm distracted looking at the wrong thing in this phone, believe me, it's more likely a chance I'm gonna step off this damn curb and get hit by one of these damn cars that's coming into this freeway. Don't let it happen. Keep your energy right. That's what we're talking about. If you have your energy right, you won't be distracted about nothing. You won't be caught off guard by much of anything. And that's the beauty of life. When you find yourself in situations where you don't know which way you want to go, always remember that the Holy Spirit is going to advise you properly. He ain't going to lie to you. He ain't going to have you thinking you have options you do not have. And he certainly ain't going to tell you to step off the damn curb and get yourself hit. I can promise you that. So that's what I'm telling you. I can move now and run when I do. See what I'm saying? And that way, I have eliminated all possibilities of being irresponsible. I think myself, looking at what it is that I want to do going forward, it's not just about conditioning myself for better and make it, or worse rather, to get used to hard times. It's about conditioning myself to welcome opportunities that are unknown, which is what we talk about every day, understanding you're not a psychic. And also welcoming the Lord to help remind me of what I've forgotten. Because this morning, that was the theme of my prayer. As I was praying, that's what the energy was the Lord was giving me. And I remember why you started certain things. I remember why you found yourself in a situation I know why you found yourself in this situation, and maybe you've forgotten your motivation behind this. But it wasn't absent me, is what he's telling me. You've prayed prayers that you've forgotten you've prayed. You've had motivations that were good in nature that you don't really give too much thought about when you consider those hard times that you're going through. That's what God was helping me remind myself. Like, yo, a lot of this was your fault, but some of this was done to you. And that is the truth, because I'm holding myself accountable for why things went wrong. And I may have done things incorrectly, as we talked about yesterday. But I didn't do things that were not just in nature as it pertains to how I found myself in this situation. I'm an AMC 8. I poured all of my money into an opportunity to see the financial markets be free of the corruption that ultimately plagues it every day, that forces people into the poverty I find myself in now. It's why I did this. Because I was thinking of people who were homeless. People who in third world countries who need the money that these people are duplicating on itself while our country stays in the debt that it's in. I tell you the truth. The Lord is unhappy with those who did this to us and to those people. And that's what came to me this morning. You ever been around somebody, maybe your parent or somebody, when they're angry, but they're not angry at you? And they don't really want to give you that angry energy, but they're so pissed off that they can't quite overcome it. Like, they still maybe even choppy with you because they're angry at something else. That's kind of how I felt the Lord felt this morning. That's kind of the energy I was getting from the Most High as I was praying this morning. That's exactly what he's mad, but not at me, but more so at the situation I find myself in based on the things that were outside of my control that he knows very much what's going on about. And so that's what I tell all of you. I believe with the way that I talk, with some of the way that I label my videos, that there may be some followers on here who might be on the other side of the fight I'm on. Hedge fund managers, individuals who have something to do with this, people who just like seeing the world burn, who may want to see somebody like me in poverty, can't wait to see it happen. I'm telling you, I'm a spiritual person. The Lord is not happy with you. Now, he's happy with the idea that people like myself are willing to ride this thing to the ground, even though it's irresponsible for us to do so. He can turn us into better human beings for doing so. He can turn us into better people because he did this. Because you did this. Because I made the decision to fight you in doing this. But make no mistake about it, you should not have done this. That's the point. You should not have done what you did. Forcing people into poverty, or not pulling people out of poverty when you're creating money for yourself, is what he's not happy with. If you're going to manipulate the stock market, you had better be building something for people who don't have a thing. It's essentially what I'm saying to you. Not giving money to pristine colleges that already are blooming billionaires by the second like you're doing. Not pouring it into different things that ultimately make your life better when you're already wealthy as hell. You're supposed to be taking the money that you're doing that dirt with and doing clean things with it. Not putting other criminals in jail for doing different types of crimes because you have the power to do so. Roping them into different RICO charges because of your racism. That is not what you're supposed to be doing with the money that you are doing that with the stock market. That stock market money is supposed to be healing the world of all the problems it has. Getting this country out of all the debt that it's in. Especially since you are an American. A lot of y'all are American. A lot of y'all are not. And you're doing this to non-American people's money, which is also something that's very, very bad for you. Spiritually. Very bad for you. When you consider the apes that are all over the world that are involved in this, in emerging markets, markets that are already developed that are starting to hurt because of some of the stuff that you're doing. You put this on my heart. I know deep down somebody's following me who's on that other side. I know you're watching. You'd be foolish not to. I'm telling you, this has nothing to do with my natural mindset. I already told everybody I'm mentally ill. That is not a secret to anybody. That's why I'm comfortable saying these things. At the end of the day, you know, and I know, that he's been telling you that you shouldn't have been doing this. Whatever role you play in this, you probably had a dream. You probably had some type of sign come your way in some weird way that you're not quite used to stuff coming your way that way, but the God that is real has been telling you to turn your ways around. Turn your ways around. Because even a good, and I put good in quotations because I don't know how good I am. I know of my own demons. But even a good person like myself still has to pay for the wrongdoing he does, and that's the duality of the circumstance. I'm suffering because I did things incorrectly. I'm suffering because I did things I shouldn't have did. Can't you see that? You just facilitated my own karma, and I'm thriving within it. But make no mistake about it, you're facilitating your own as well. You gotta turn away from your ways, and it ain't about going to hell. It ain't even about all that. You ain't gotta wait to die to see what he's about to do. That's what I'm trying to tell all of y'all. Some of y'all gonna die broke. Y'all billionaires right now, you're gonna die broke. You're gonna die in prison cells. Because of this. Because of this. And maybe you think you got it sewed up. Maybe you think that those who hold you accountable you have in your back pocket. You can't see what's around the corner for them. You can't see what's around the corner for you. But I can tell you, as I prayed to God this morning, he was telling me how he was proud of me for handling the mistakes that I made in the way that I've done it. I should have been more prepared for what it is I was involved in if I were to do it correctly. But if I would have did it correctly, I wouldn't have learned the lessons I learned. Thus wouldn't have thrust me into a position to say the things that I'm saying or have said the things that I've said. And those things were needed to be said. Those things were necessary to come from me at the times that I said them. Which is why all of this is going exactly the way it's supposed to, which is why I'm fine, despite everything being absolutely upside down in my life. But as I was holding myself accountable, praying to God to help me become more mature so that I would never find myself in this position again, he told me you wouldn't have been in this position unless you were doing exactly what the Lord told you to do. If you would have been in a better position, I would have been disobedient in regards to what he was asking me to do. He told me to get on the other end of this thing and stay on the other end of this thing and wait for it to work out. It has yet to. And that's the God's honest truth. That's a God's honest truth. We can talk about it a million different ways. It's always going to come back around to that same thing. It's always going to come back around to that same thing. If you don't see it for what it is, that's fine. If you think that you can get away with doing things that are wrong to people for long periods of time, you'll find out you can't. If you think you can treat people like they ain't nothing because you have opportunities and making money on top of money on top of money on top of money, and you've been watching people do that for generations getting away with it, you may be the first that don't. I think that's the point of the 8 movement. You may be the first that don't. If there was no way to redeem yourself from this, I don't think he would put it in my heart to even speak to you this way. It's God's honest truth. If there was no way to make that right, he wouldn't have me waste my time. But I'm telling you, every last one of you hedges, every last one of you individuals on the wrong side of this thing, every last one of you self-righteous, money-making individuals that actually don't have compassion in your heart for anyone other than yourselves and the people that you're trying to build for, and the things you're trying to build that are beyond us in regards to our timeline, things that are supposed to overlap our living. Understand that those plans, they're not guaranteed right now. You may be pouring a lot into them. You may be praying to the same God I am in regards to seeing those things through. And I'm telling you, he is not happy with you. I almost forgot that I chose to get involved in something that was righteous in nature. As I continue to fail at what I'm doing, I almost forgot that God was with me the whole time from the beginning. I almost forgot that I was praying prayers every day about this. For I hold my shares but worship God. So I never lost sight of what it is that I'm supposed to be paying attention to. So I never lost sight of who it is from which all good things come from. So I never lost sight of what it is that I cannot manifest from within my bad intentions. For which I cannot manifest from within my bad intentions. I'm telling you, these words are coming to me very easily because they're meant for a lot of people who are doing a lot of wrong. Making a whole lot of money. And look, I'm no better than you. If I were to find the money myself and then don't do anything good with it, take myself to an island and live out the rest of my life, take the mo-ass money and not give it to none of the people I love, even though I've really been helped by so many people in this life. I let people sit in the hood while I go off and live however. Boy, I tell you, you probably strike me down before I even get a chance to enjoy my money. I probably won't even have the grace that you've been given if I do that, given my walk in this world. You probably won't even let me survive it. And I know that. You've been afforded more grace if you're in this position, so you should be able to display more grace just the same. But you refuse, don't you? Your ego is greater than your heart. Your evil is greater than your heart. And that's why you gotta fall, friend. That's why this movement's in place in the first place. That's why you got so many people hell-bent on holding these shares even though they're in poverty, even though they lost everything, even though they gotta spend the money on other stuff. They still holding. Why? Because that's the nature of what it is you're up against when you try to play with God. When you start playing God and playing with God at the same time, you start finding out that he inspires people in ways that just don't make no damn sense. Why won't they sell these things? We drove them all the way down to the ground. We split them in half. We've proven that everybody a part of this thing disappeared. Everybody who was talking about it, all the YouTubers, they're gone. Adam Aaron and let the thing go down to half price and it's talking about splitting it some more. Why are we still here? Because y'all playing with the Lord and he ain't gonna let us move. Y'all trying to play God and play with God at the same time, and it don't work that way. You're breaking rules. But see, if you're a godless entity that thinks it's God, you don't realize that you are being governed by a God. You're not going to listen to that God. You're not going to be in touch with that God, and you're going to be swept away by that God just the same. I'm no better. You do the same thing to me if I turn my ways to darkness. Don't get it twisted. This talks to all of us, not just y'all. This is for everybody. He'll wipe us away just the same. So do not play God and do not play with God, and certainly don't play with people's money as it pertains to hard working individuals who are investing in things that they hope will at least make them as much money as they put in. And while you're duplicating those shares as if they don't exist, as if that money is easy to be replaced by those same people. It is not. People are pouring everything into companies that make you rich, and you're taking that same money that they're investing to help themselves and pouring it back into yourself even more so. You essentially got these people working for free. I ain't gonna use the slavery word in that regard because it ain't respectful. But at the same time, what you're doing is keeping people in financial bondage. They think they're really paying into something. They ain't paying into nothing. They're getting rationed out everything that they get. And the money continues to stay in the same places. That's why I give credence to people who don't really think of things like materialistic stuff like that. Because if you know how the money's being manipulated, you know that nobody's really rich. Everybody's managed. Nobody's rich. You can take $8 billion from a celebrity just for saying the wrong thing about a certain people. Nobody's rich. But the people who are doing this, you're just managed. And believe it or not, if you ask me, their biggest competition is the black market. Those who stand outside of that, morally incorrect, who they can barely keep hold of their damn self. That's who they probably at most at risk with. But they don't realize there's something greater than that too. It's God. G-O-D, the same God that y'all pretend to be. He's greater than both. He can see everything. What's coming for y'all, what's coming for you most. He can see it all. So that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't think for 1 second that I have it all together as I say this. That's the point. I don't. But I know what the Lord is putting in my heart to say to you. If you're on the wrong side of this thing. And look, I'm not telling nobody to get involved in this movement. Look what it's done to us. It's not for everybody. It's really not. It's not for everyone. Because at the end of the day, you got to be strong at heart to be able to withstand not only the financial ramifications of this, but the psychological ramifications of what they're doing. Everywhere you turn in regards to what this is telling you not to be a part of it. And I'm telling you, if you understand people like myself who aren't going to go away, even if it saves our lives, do you understand this thing's going to happen regardless? Just by default, it's going to take place. Just by default. Because we ain't going away. And they're already too over leveraged to make this thing any less than what it's going to be, which is a volcanic eruption of financial proportions. This is what it is. So right now, I'm becoming a person who should be a better human being because of the fact that I put myself in a position to go through these hard times by way of this fight. It's going to do great things for people who are connected to the Lord, regardless if you have to go through the difficulties of the times. It ain't even about my life, it's about beyond. I'm a spirit, happen to be alive right now. And after the event of my passing, I won't be. And that's why I got to do what I got to do right now. There's absolutely nothing that's going to keep me from believing in what we're doing, because I know that the Lord has already told me what this is. He has plans for this. He's already told us to me. He has plans for this movement. Regardless if it's what we think it is or something else entirely, He has plans for this movement. So that's what I'm telling you. Whether you're on the right side of it or the other, there's plans for the movement. Excuse me, little brother. That's what it is. The Lord has already spoken into my heart the truth about this situation. At the end of the day, those who are on the wrong side of it will have to pay. It's not up for debate. We're not going away. And as for everybody else, my prayer is that we don't turn into the same type of whales they are as a collective. As the apes become a whale, don't turn back into another firm form of the hedgies. Don't let them bribe you into opportunities to make more money. Don't let them tell you they know how to handle the money more than you do. If they did, they wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. Because I know that's exactly what they're going to do. The best place for that money is with you. And in the hands of the people they've taken it from. That's why I tell you that if you're a part of this thing, don't feel like it's over. If you're not in this thing, make a good, sound decision about what it is that you're doing, because this could take the rest of our lives. Literally. We are not expecting this to happen right away, especially now. These people are evil, and they're not going to stop at what they're doing for nothing. And they got a lot of people in place that agree with them, regardless of whether they owe these people or not. They would rather all keep that money out of our hands than to make these situations right and correct. They would rather, just out of the sheer evil in their heart, they'd rather keep the apes broke just to be on the opposite side of something that would dare oppose them as a god, for which they are not. And that's why I know this can take a long time, because everybody's in their pocket. They got all the money. And there's a lot of people who just flat out don't have the God variable in their minds. So they're going to allow stuff like this to happen because they're more so afraid of what happens when the poor become not so. See, that's the point. Value has to take place for people. In order for value to even exist, you got to have it so that some people don't have. That's the order of value. That's why they hate communism so damn much, because it brings everybody to a place of balance for which they fear a great deal. It means that some of their efforts in doing whatever it is they do may not rise them above the next person, for which excellence is what they thrive for. Because there's no God variable. So you have to strive for excellence. Why would you strive for anything else? You got to be the best. Except for you leaving people on the ground hurting and poor, and just so you can be the best. You think God's pleased with that? He created all of us. You think He's pleased with y'all leaving some people out of it? He refused to find a better way because a few benefit from it and they control everything because of it. He's tired of it. The whole structure, he's sick of it. Y'all ain't learned from Katrina? Y'all ain't learned from these various situations? Did you tell? He's sick of it. You gotta know when God is tired of certain things, man. You gotta know when He's tired of certain things, man. You gotta know. When what you do is directly affecting so many and He's tired of you, you gotta know. That's probably why He put it in my heart. You're gonna go to church. Some of y'all believe in God too. That's the scary part. Some of y'all think you're doing His bidding. Maybe you are. Maybe this is part of it. He created the devil, so I don't doubt that He created the circumstances for which I suffer from. But at the same time, you gotta understand the dualities of what it is you're doing, and you better make dang sure you are doing what it is He wants you to do. You better make dang sure. Because maybe he wants you to do this bad thing so he can teach me a good lesson, and then from there he gonna throw you in hell for doing it. Because your intentions weren't no good when you did it. I'm telling you, it works that way. So that's what I'm telling people, man. If you are hedgy on that side of the fence, if you are doing this to the stock markets, please understand. There's a spiritual aspect of the situation that you must be accountable for. And that is, whether you believe in God or not, he is real. And a lot of the people you're doing this to, you should not be doing this to. I ain't just talking about myself. I'm talking about people a lot better than me. A whole lot better than me. Shouldn't be doing this to them. So, if you're on that side and nobody's told you this, consider yourself warned. Consider yourself informed. Consider yourself blessed to have heard these words, because they are the truth. And I'm telling you, man, it was no doubt in my mind he was mad. I just knew where it was pointed at was not myself. If anything, he was telling me just relax, believe, stand still and wait for me to bring you what it is I'm bringing you. Stand still and endure what it is you got to endure to be a better person. Keep ministering these people as you walk on the street. Keep getting used to getting outside, because that's what you need for your life, your vessel, your own little world. That's what's best for me. But this is not just affecting me. And he's pissed about it affecting everybody. It's affecting it negatively. Everyone. Including you, for allowing it to blow back on you with the karma that you do for the dog's things you do, which is very much a variable that we never teach each other, that I've had in this camera for the last 2 weeks. God don't want us to walk ourselves into bad karma. That's allowing the devil to destroy something he created. If you do wrong and you end up having to get destroyed for that, that's a sad day for God. He don't want you to suffer. He don't want me to suffer because of my mistakes. He don't want me to suffer because of the hands of your mistakes upon my life, or vice versa, if it were to come that way. He don't want us to affect each other in negative ways, and he certainly don't want that blowback to kick our own behinds when we don't even intend for that. Allow me to incorporate that variable into your life. If you're doing wrong, he's sad for you because you're going to have to end up getting hurt for that. And he don't want that for you. It's a God's honest truth. The world may want to get you back for that, but your creator had no intentions of hurting you. Least of all at your own hands. Especially when you ain't suffering like a lot of people who unalive themselves. When you're happy, you're trying to be happy, you're focusing on getting all your ambition going, trying to be proud of yourself. And he has to turn around and destroy you because of something you done did. That don't make him happy. Pour all of your best ambition into the wrong stuff. Do you think that makes him happy? He put all that fire in you to do something. He put all that intellect in you to do something, and all you can do is destroy and cheat. You think he sees that as a success? Please. Stop insulting the Lord like that. He don't want that for you. That's why you turn away from the ways. Not because you listen to somebody like me and see me broke. No, because you're going to end up paying for that. You're going to end up paying for everything you do, just like I pay for everything I'm doing right now. Everything I've done wrong, I'm paying for it right now. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. He's making me better for it, but I still got to suffer. You see it? Hey, buddy. You see it. What's up? Yep. Hello. So you see, even the worst energy in me is detected. Nothing gets past no one. In regards to God's intentions, you're not getting away with nothing, is what I'm saying. None of us are. And as it pertains to those who do things that affect millions and billions of people, or millions and billions and trillions of dollars, I'm telling you, it's a little different. It's a little different for you. Because you're responsible for others. Just like I said in regards to my voice. Now I got a couple people I'm talking to. People are following me. I got people watching my every move or what have you. I got this in place for all time. I got to make good decisions with my energy. So that I can at least be a good example of what's the next. Even if things go wrong, a good example of what's next when you go through these things. You don't have to react to them the worst way. You don't have to be a burden to others and yourself. You can give while you're going through something. That's what he's doing for me. He's allowing me to give while I'm going through something. And this is what I have to give. want you to turn away from your evil ways, man. Whether you're part of the conversation I'm talking about or something entirely different, he does not want you to suffer for the ills of your own decisions. Especially when you haven't even consulted with him properly. At least see what he has to say about what you're doing. And if you don't believe he exists, well, how the hell are you going to do that? That's why I try to incorporate the God variable. I don't want to exclude nobody. All religions, welcome. All denominations, welcome. This is nothing more than a chess piece on a chessboard. The God variable is a real thing. It's a real thing. You incorporate him into every single equation you're looking at. Check him into every equation you're looking at. And watch that equation make a lot more sense. A lot of people refuse to do that because their egos won't allow them to think of anything other than themselves as a God. But just put it in the math book. Just put it there. See what happens. And you consider his intentions, his compassion, what he wants for you, what he doesn't want for you, what he wants for others, what he can see, what he's... So many different things you put into that variable. It's an amoeba that changes with everything. All understanding, all encompassing understanding. Watch how he moves amongst others. Watch how he moves amongst people who believe in him versus those who don't. It's just, the math is there. And look, if you keep your energy right, he'll find you. He'll find you. You don't have to look for God. He'll find you. This video found you. That's all I'm saying. Incorporate that God variable. Find out if what you're doing makes sense for what it is that you want to be, how you want to be, what it is that you actually think makes sense for your life. Make sure you're on the right side of things, because that same voice that'll tell you to do something good will be the same voice that tell you to do something bad in your head. Nobody knows that more than me. You don't keep your energy right, you'll tell yourself all the wrong things, and you'll be stuck in the wrong places, welcoming the wrong energy, taking back blowback for those decisions, man. So that's what I'm here to say, man. That's what this is where this is taking me. I want to keep good energy and in positive energy, but sometimes the Lord wants me to address his enemies. Sometimes he uses the people he wants to talk through to address the people that he wants to talk to. And maybe aren't necessarily doing what it is he wants them to do. Not just about motivating those who he loves who haven't quite gotten it, but those who do get it, or those who refuse to incorporate him into the variable and are doing all types of control the world type of stuff. All types of I'm God type of stuff. When you have fears, how the hell can you be a God? That's why I never convinced myself I'm some type of deity, because I have fears. How the hell can I hold fear if I'm a God? Fear is without understanding. That means you don't know what's coming. You think you know what's coming and you're anticipating it in a negative way. God don't have those problems. Not the all-encompassing understanding. He don't have those problems. So how could I be a God if I fear something? A lot of us, we got to be able to incorporate that into our intellect, because some of us are just going about it because we listen to other people talk. And that's fine, because somebody's listening to me talk too, but it's like, at some point in time, you got to realize you don't mind to tell you the truth about what it is that you actually are. And the process of overcoming your own ego is really the moral of your story. You just yet to realize that. And you got to submit to something greater than yourself. Then all the stuff that you got going on start to fall into place, start making sense. All that. But because you can't overcome yourself to incorporate something greater than yourself, you're going to always be one step behind. One step behind a lot of things that you shouldn't be. Because you can't overcome that ego that tells you God. So thus you control by evil, and we already said how that goes. So you're not a God, you're a slave to your own demons. That's what you are. If you believe yourself to be a God, that's exactly what you are. You're a slave to your own demons. Just telling the truth, man. Your eyes are shut, closed by those demons as to why you shouldn't try to be a God. But believe me, the one thing that I've understood about listening to God is that he don't be having the greatest of days every day, man. He's angry today. Some days he may not be all that happy. Some days he may be sad. Like, it ain't that great of an existence. Knowing everything and seeing everybody fronting and doing all types of weird stuff that we do. All types of evil in the dark. Lying to one another, abandoning our children, abandoning whatever the hell we're doing. He's seeing all of this. He know why it happens. As we talked about a couple days ago, he's sorry he allowed certain things to happen that tumbled forward all of this for a lot of us to be the worst people we are, whatever it be. If you truly are God, then you understand why being a God ain't the most desirable thing. Because once you have all that power, and once you have the all-encompassing change and everything, you can do whatever you want, then you're just living with it. It's no different than being rich. Okay, it's exciting for me to own a private jet, but after I had that private jet for 16 months, and I paid a bill on that gas, it ain't that big a deal. When I'm flying all over the world to places I don't want to go, spending money I don't want to spend on top of that gas bill, it ain't that big a, that jet's cool, man. It's cool to show people like me so that we'll inspire to want those things, but once you have it, it's just like anything else. It's just a damn thing. Like Cardi B and Offset's cars, just gathering dust, they showed us. Gathering dust. Man, it's just things, bro. And no different than the power of the highest being when you have it for as long as he's have it, which is eternity. It's not that big of a thing no more. Then it's just about what you're taking back. And a lot of the people that he created don't even care nothing about him. They don't even think he exists. And are lured into believing he doesn't exist by other people who control their minds by way of culture. And not every day is a good day to be God. While a lot of us are playing God like it's the best thing to ever be, he's basically telling me you'd rather be a human. He'd rather just stand outside and walk down the street like I'm doing. But he has to constantly answer prayers and do all this, and think about that, and create that, know what it's going to turn into, know what it tumbles forward, but he got to do it anyway because of that. There's a lot of other stuff too that we will never know because he's God and that's what it is. But it ain't always a good day, friend. It ain't always a good day to be God. So that's what I'm here to tell you. It ain't always a good day to be God. It ain't nothing to want. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with what comes with that. You got to deal with people creating problems for people that you hear about praying to you who want to do good. The horrors of this world that you have to witness every day. Just because you're God and people ask you to be there for their trauma. Think about it. Everybody who's going through trauma asks God to be there. He got to witness all of our trauma. All of it. He can be somewhere at the quinceañera enjoying himself. Next thing you know, somebody's screaming and hollering about. Now he got to be there. Comfort them through their trauma. It's your God. You want to be God? You sure? I'm telling you, putting this stuff in my heart to say. I don't even know how my mouth was moving like this. It's just moving. But I'm telling you, it's as true as I know my name. He's allowing me to understand it's as true as I know my name. You should not at all want to be a God. Because even though God doesn't regret his position, it still makes for some very tough days and nights. So that's what I want to tell everybody, man. That's what's on my heart. For all of y'all want to be God, think y'all gods, believe that the God variable don't exist, all kinds of other stuff that the devil wants you to believe. I promise you, man. I promise you. There's more to what you understand. There's more to life than what you would understand right now. There's more to this spiritual thing than what it is he's allowing you to see for some reason. And even though you can't see it, you gotta listen to people like me when we tell you we do feel it, see it, communicate with it, and all kinds of other stuff. And the math makes sense. It very much makes sense. So that's what I'm here to tell everybody, man. That's my content for this particular day in regards to my walk. For those I offended, you were supposed to be offended. Obviously. So that's what it is, man. For those who weren't offended, you understand. You understand why I said what I said. And if you don't, it comes down to when I prayed to the Lord I believe in, he allowed me to understand that for me, he can do a lot of good things within this circumstance. But because this circumstance exists, other people are hurt by it, and it's not okay. And he's hearing their prayers, and he's unhappy about that. He's pleased to see how I'm thriving through these struggles. But some of them other people who are crying out, they may not be doing as well. And that's on these hedges as well. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.